This whole situation with Alex Bowman does not feel like a regular early season storyline anymore. It has grown into something that feels much bigger and much more serious than anyone expected when it first started. When something that seems small at first keeps a driver out of his car, and then suddenly nobody in the sport can give a clear answer about when he is coming back, that is when you know something real is going on. As NASCAR fans, we have seen drivers miss races before. Injuries happen, health issues come up, and teams find ways to deal with it. But this one feels different. This feels like one of those situations that can quietly shift the direction of an entire season, not just for one driver, but for a whole organization that is built to compete for wins every single weekend. What makes this even more interesting is that it did not blow up all at once. It came together slowly, piece by piece, until the people in the garage and the fans watching at home all started to realize at the same time that something serious was happening. And now, a major decision has been made, one that is going to shape the next few weeks in a big way for one of the most well-known teams in the sport. Before we get into all of it, if you enjoy honest and real NASCAR talk like this, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are NASCAR Nation Report, a brand new channel working toward our first 10,000 subscribers. Every person who joins this community early helps us keep doing what we love, and that is talking NASCAR the way real fans talk about it. If this is your kind of content, you are exactly where you need to be. Now let's get into the full story. This whole thing started during the race at COTA at the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. At first, it did not look like something that was going to turn into a major headline. It just seemed like one of those race day situations that comes and goes. But then, in the middle of the race, something changed for Alex Bowman behind the wheel. He started experiencing vertigo. And if you know anything about what these drivers deal with on a racetrack, you already understand why that is so serious. These guys are going nearly 200 miles per hour. Every decision they make happens in a split second. Their depth perception, their balance, their spatial awareness, all of it has to be working perfectly at all times. Vertigo completely takes all of that away. It is not a matter of toughing it out or pushing through the discomfort. When vertigo hits at those speeds, the only responsible decision is to stop. And that is exactly what happened. Bowman had to climb out of the number 48 car in the middle of the race. That alone tells you everything you need to know about how serious the situation was, because drivers do not just get out of the car unless something is genuinely wrong. After COTA, most people assumed it would be a one-race situation, a little recovery time, some rest, and he would be back at Phoenix ready to go. But then the update came, and it was not the one anyone was hoping for. Bowman was not medically cleared to race. Just like that, Hendrick Motorsports had to go into scramble mode and find someone to put in that car on short notice. They brought in Anthony Alfredo as a temporary replacement. And to be clear, that is an incredibly tough spot for any driver to be in. Jumping into a cup car with basically no preparation time, no time to build chemistry with the crew, and no time to get comfortable with the setup is one of the hardest things you can ask a driver to do. Alfredo gave it everything he had, but the results showed just how difficult that situation really was. He finished 33rd. The car looked out of rhythm all weekend, and the whole number 48 team just never seemed to find its footing. On top of that, there was still no clear timeline for when Bowman would be back. That is when the uncertainty really started to grow, and people started asking harder questions about how long this was actually going to last. Then, things went from uncertain to completely chaotic in a way that nobody saw coming. Hendrick Motorsports accidentally revealed their next move before they were ready to. A press release went live that was meant to be routine race notes, nothing dramatic, just standard information. But buried inside that press release was one line that changed everything. It said that Justin Allgaier would be driving the number 48 Ally Chevrolet. Within minutes, the page was pulled down and deleted, but it was already too late. Fans had seen it. Screenshots were spreading across social media faster than anyone could stop them. What was supposed to be a controlled announcement became an accidental leak that set the internet on fire. And not long after that, Hendrick Motorsports made it official. Justin Allgaier was stepping into the number 48 car for Las Vegas. Now here is what makes that decision really interesting. This is not just a random fill-in hire. Allgaier is not someone being called up because there were no other options. He comes into this situation with real credibility and real experience. He has over 80 Cup Series starts to his name, which means he knows what it takes to compete at this level. He also has a strong connection to the Hendrick organization through his work with JR Motorsports, so this is someone the team already knows and already trusts. And on top of all that, he was coming in with momentum after a recent win in the Xfinity Series. This was a deliberate and thoughtful decision by Hendrick Motorsports, not a panic move. They were not just looking to fill a seat, they were looking to bring in stability, and that is exactly what Allgaier represents. His job stepping into that car is pretty clear. Keep it clean, manage the race intelligently, avoid the kind of mistakes that turn a tough day into a disaster. At Las Vegas Motor Speedway, that approach makes perfect sense. Las Vegas is a track that rewards discipline, long green flag runs, tire wear management, pit strategy. All of it puts a premium on patience and smart decision-making. Those are things that an experienced driver like Allgaier can bring even without having the full week of preparation that a regular race weekend would normally include. But the biggest concern through all of this remains Alex Bowman himself. The vertigo symptoms have not fully gone away, and Hendrick Motorsports has made it very clear that they are not going to rush him back before he is ready. And honestly, that is absolutely the right call. This is not a situation where you tape up a sore ankle and tell a player to get back on the field. We are talking about a driver operating at almost 200 miles per hour, where one small mistake or one moment of disorientation can change everything in an instant. You cannot take shortcuts when it comes to something like this. Health and safety have to come first every single time. What makes this so difficult for the organization is that the number 48 car is now an unknown every single week. Hendrick Motorsports is built around the expectation that all 4 of their cars are going to be competitive. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and William Byron are all expected to fight for wins on a regular basis. But now the number 48 car becomes unpredictable, less consistency, less preparation time, more pressure on everyone else to carry the team. And in a season where every single point matters and the playoffs are always somewhere in the back of everyone's mind, that kind of instability is a real and genuine problem. The question that nobody can answer right now is how long this actually goes on. Vertigo is not something that follows a predictable schedule. You cannot put a date on it and plan around it. Until Bowman is completely cleared and fully confident behind the wheel, that seat stays open. What started as a mid-race issue at COTA has now turned into a multi-week absence, an accidental leaked announcement, a last-minute driver change, and one of the most talked-about storylines in NASCAR right now. All eyes are on Las Vegas to see how Allgaier handles the car and whether the number 48 team can finally have a clean and competitive weekend. But the bigger picture question is the one that hangs over everything. When is Alex Bowman coming back? And what does his season look like if this drags on much longer into a stretch of races where points and playoff positioning start to really matter? This is one of those situations where there are no easy answers and no quick fixes. Hendrick Motorsports has to be patient, has to trust the process, and has to keep the ship as steady as possible until their driver is ready to return. The next couple of weeks are going to tell us a whole lot about where this season is really headed for that number 48 team.